My sister stole over $2,000 of my hard-earned savings, while my mom defended her, saying, "Girls need more money than boys." I begged them to believe me, but they called me a liar until I exposed the truth. What my mom did next nearly got me sent away forever. Frankie, I don't usually tell people this, but I knew by the time I was 14 that my mom didn't love me the way she loved my sister. Sounds dramatic, right? But when you've lived it day in and day out, the favoritism, the punishments, the gaslighting, you stop questioning it. You start treating it like the weather. You don't ask why it's raining. You just get used to being wet. I was 14, like I said, the summer before high school, and for the past 2 years, I'd been saving up for a used scooter I'd seen in the window of Mr. Kellerman's repair shop on 3rd and Ash. $2,400. That was the magic number. Seemed like an impossible amount when I started, but I was determined. I mowed lawns, raked leaves, walked neighborhood dogs. I even babysat my mom's friend's demon twins for $10 an hour. Every cent went into a series of meticulously labeled envelopes hidden in my closet. Meanwhile, my sister, she was 12 and already living like she was a mall princess. Her allowance was a crisp 20 every week, and she blew it instantly. Hot Topic t-shirts, Urban Decay makeup, frappuccinos, and cheap jewelry that turned her neck green. She never saved a dime, never lifted a finger to help around the house. But to my mom, she was mama's little girl. And I was just the boy. The first time I noticed money missing, I thought I was going crazy. One of my envelopes, the one marked Scooter Fund Month 10, was light, like noticeably light. I counted. Then I recounted. $70 short. I checked again. Maybe I miscounted. Maybe I'd mixed it up with the one I used for lunch money. But no, my notebook said otherwise. I kept everything written down in a little black ledger I bought from the dollar store. Every job, every deposit, every dollar spent on snacks or school stuff. I checked again. I hadn't imagined it. So I did what any dumb kid would do. I confronted my sister. She was lying on her bed with glitter eyeshadow smeared all over her eyelids and Paramore blasting from her CD player. I stepped in and asked her straight, "Did you take money from my room?" She didn't even blink, just looked at me and said, "You're insane?" Then flipped her bangs and yelled, "Mom!" That's when it started. She burst into tears, literal tears, Frankie, and ran to the kitchen like I'd just slapped her. I followed, trying to explain. "Mom, she stole money from me. I've been saving for—" But my mom cut me off. "You don't dare accuse my baby girl of stealing." She took $70. I wrote it down. That's when the belt came off the hook. "You want to keep talking, huh?" she snapped. "I will beat the disrespect out of you if I have to." I shut up. Not because I was scared of the belt, but because the look in her eyes told me it didn't matter. I could show her all the proof in the world. She still wouldn't believe me. Or maybe she would, and she just wouldn't care. After that, I moved my money. I got more careful. Started hiding the envelopes behind loose floorboards, in hollowed-out books, in an old Monopoly box under my bed. Didn't matter. The money kept disappearing. A few bucks here, 50 there. One time, a full 100 gone. I started taping my envelopes shut and signing across the seals. Still gone. Every time I confronted her, she'd cry. And every time she cried, Mom would rage at me. Once I left a post-it in one of the envelopes that said, "Smile, you're on camera." It was a lie. I didn't even have a phone that could record video. But that night, my sister screamed so loud I thought the neighbors might call 911. Mom stormed in, pulled the envelope out of her purse, didn't even try to hide it, and said I was terrorizing my own sister. Terrorizing her. Frankie, I was the villain. I hit my breaking point after one weekend in early August. I'd worked a double shift helping a neighbor clean out her garage. She paid me $75 cash, and I split it. $50 to savings, $25 for school supplies. I hid the envelope behind a row of unused textbooks. 3 days later, it was gone. The envelope, the cash, everything. That night I didn't eat dinner. I just sat in my room with the door shut, staring at the spot where the envelope had been. I was shaking, not from anger. No, I'd gone past that. I was shaking because I realized something terrifying. There was no adult in my house who was going to protect me. Not my mom, not even my dad. He was around, sure, but he worked late most days and didn't say much when he was home. I figured maybe he just didn't want to get involved. Or maybe he didn't believe me either. But that night I did something desperate. I called him. He picked up on the second ring. "Everything okay, bud?" And for the first time, I told him the whole truth, not just about the missing money, but the screaming, the favoritism, the belt, the lies. I told him about the envelopes, the black notebook, the tears, the silence, like I was giving a police report. There was a pause when I finished. I could hear the hum of his office light through the phone. "I'll be home early," he said. "Don't say anything to your mother until I get there." He came home before dinner, which almost never happened. My sister was on the couch, playing a video game. My mom was in the kitchen chopping vegetables. I was at the dining table, pretending to do homework, but really just waiting for the storm to hit. Dad didn't yell. He just pulled out a chair, sat across from me, and asked, "You got the notebook?" I handed it to him. He flipped through every page. When he got to the latest entry, he looked up and said, "Where was this envelope?" "In the bookshelf, behind Jane Eyre." He turned to my sister. "Why?" She blinked. "Why what? Why did you take the money?" Her mouth opened, closed. "I didn't." Dad raised one hand. Just one. Quiet. Calm. "Please don't lie. Not tonight." My sister's eyes welled up, but this time no sobs, no dramatics. "I just needed some cash," she mumbled. My mom came storming in. "What the hell is going on here?" Dad stood up. "Your daughter admitted she's been stealing from her brother." "Excuse me," Mom barked. "She's a child. She doesn't know better." "She knew how to lie," Dad said flatly. "She knew how to hide it." Then, "God, I'll never forget this," my mom shrugged. "Girls need more money than boys. That's just facts." I stared at her like she'd grown another head. "What?" she snapped. "She's a girl. Makeup, clothes, all that stuff costs more. He doesn't need that kind of cash sitting around. What's he even saving for, a toy?" "It's not a toy," I whispered. "It's a scooter, so I can get to school, and maybe a job, so I don't have to ask you for rides." "You don't need a scooter," she shot back. "You're a boy. You'll manage." Dad's jaw tensed. "She deserves to be treated like a princess," Mom added. He looked at her for a long time. Then he turned to me. "Go to your room, son." I don't know what was said after that. I just remember hearing the fridge door slam and my mom shouting something about being undermined and her house, her rules. My sister ran crying upstairs. The TV was left on downstairs, blaring some cooking show nobody was watching. Later that night, Dad knocked on my door. "Come with me," he said. He drove me to the office supply store and bought me a small combination safe. Brand new, black, steel, heavy as hell. We brought it home, and I set it up in my closet. "You pick the code," he told me. "Don't tell anyone but me." I chose 0428. It was the date I started saving. I wanted to cry. Not because of the safe, but because it was the first time in years I felt like someone was actually on my side. But I didn't cry. I locked that safe and went to bed. You ever look around your own house and feel like you're living behind enemy lines? That's how I felt after I installed the safe. Dad helped me bolt it to the floor of my closet and gave me a look like, "You're safe now." And for a while I believed him. That little black safe wasn't just metal, it was proof. Proof that, finally, my money, my dream, was mine again. But that feeling, it didn't last. Because in our house, the truth didn't matter if it made Mom uncomfortable. And the safe made her very uncomfortable. She never said it outright, but I could feel it in her eyes. Like every time she passed my room and saw that locked door, she took it as a personal insult. My sister sulked constantly, dragging her feet across the floor like I'd robbed her of something. All I'd done was make it harder for her to steal from me. It took about 2 weeks for the real tension to start again. It began with Mom asking for the code. We were in the kitchen, and she said it like she was asking what I wanted for dinner. "What's the code to your little vault?" I didn't look up from my math homework. "It's private." Her fork clinked against her plate. "You live under this roof, don't you?" "That means nothing in this house is private." Before I could answer, Dad walked in. "He's not telling anyone the code. End of story." Mom's lips pressed together so tight her mouth practically vanished. She didn't say anything else that night, but her silence was louder than yelling. After that, she started leaving my door open when she walked by. I'd come back from the bathroom to find it wide open, even though I always shut it behind me. A few times I'd find the closet doors cracked open too, like someone had tried, but failed, to move the safe. Then came the ransacking. I'll never forget it. Tuesday afternoon, sky overcast, I'd stayed late for a group project. I walk into my room and it's like a tornado hit. Drawers yanked out and dumped. Mattress flipped. My notebooks, clothes, posters, everything trashed. The safe, still locked, still bolted down. It looked like it had mocked whoever tried to open it. I stood there in the wreckage, numb. Then I saw my sister in the hallway, just standing there, holding a bobby pin. She didn't say a word, just looked at me and smirked before vanishing down the stairs. I went to my dad again that night, told him everything. He didn't hesitate. The next day he installed a lock on my bedroom door with a key and one of those metal key boxes with a combo on it, the kind contractors use. He mounted it to the wall just outside my door. "Only you and I know the code," he said. "If your mom asks for it, you tell her to talk to me." She did ask, that very same night. She stood in front of my door, arms crossed, staring at the box like it was a bomb. "You gonna tell me, or do I have to rip it off the wall?" I didn't even look up. Talk to Dad. That was the moment it shifted. Not the power, but the illusion. Mom wasn't used to being told no, and she hated it. She stomped off like a storm cloud, and for the next few days I barely heard her speak a word to either of us. My sister, on the other hand, was just getting warmed up. It started small, slamming her door when I walked by, tossing dirty looks at dinner, whispering to Mom in the kitchen with these exaggerated sighs and little glances in my direction, like I was the worst human alive. Then one night, she knocked. That alone was weird. She never knocked. I opened the door halfway. "Yeah?" She had this pouty, innocent look plastered on. "I was wondering if I could borrow, like, $40? There's this new video game, and Mom says she's broke until Friday." I leaned against the doorframe. "You mean the same $40 you probably already tried to steal?" Her face dropped for a second, just a flicker, then snapped back to sweet. "Come on," I asked this time. "Sure," I said, reaching into my desk drawer. "But you're signing an IOU, and Dad's gonna witness it." "You're kidding." "I'm not," she groaned. "It's $40. I pulled out a simple sheet of paper. "Exactly. You want it, you sign for it. Simple." She turned on her heel and stomped away. "Forget it!" An hour later, Mom barged into my room without knocking, until she slammed into the locked door. I heard the thud and then a loud, frustrated, "Damn it!" Then came the yelling. "Open this door right now." "Nope." "I said open it. You're not allowed in here without Dad." "You little..." She stopped herself, took a breath. "Your sister needs that money. She can earn it. She's a girl." I didn't answer. A few seconds of silence passed, then footsteps stomped down the stairs. I thought that was the end of it. But the next day, oh, Frankie. The next day was the breaking point. I got home from school early. Dad had picked me up because of a dentist appointment. We walk into the house and immediately hear screaming. It was my sister, upstairs. We rushed up, and my room door was wide open. The lockbox lay smashed on the floor. The door had been busted inward, the frame was cracked. And the safe? Gone. We found it outside, on the lawn, dented, scratched, but locked. She had thrown it out the window. Dad lost it. I'd never seen him like that before. Furious in that cold, terrifying way, like he was holding something inside, barely restrained. He dragged my sister into the living room, sat her down, and told her if she ever touched my stuff again, there would be real consequences. My mom tried to step in, said something like, "She was just frustrated. You boys are ganging up on her." Dad turned on her. "She committed theft, again, and destruction of property. She's a child. She's 12, and she knows better." That was when he said the words I'd never forget. "I'm done pretending this is normal." He said it quietly, like it had taken him years to finally say it out loud. And then he walked into the garage and came back with tools to fix the door. That night, he reinforced it with an additional slide bolt, gave me a new key, reset the combo box with a better model. I never left the house again without pocketing that key like it was my lifeline. The next few weeks were quiet, unnaturally so. Mom stopped asking questions. My sister stopped speaking to me altogether. At dinner, it was mostly clinking forks and awkward chewing. Then about a month later, she knocked again. Same fake smile, same soft voice. Okay, I'm sorry. Can I borrow the money now? I'll sign your little form." I stepped outside and held up the IOU. Dad stood behind me. "Sign it." She rolled her eyes but scribbled her name. I handed her the $40 in 20s. She took it, looked me dead in the eye, and ripped the paper in half. Then she ran, straight to Mom. We followed. Mom was already standing in the kitchen, arms crossed. "He tricked me," my sister shouted. "He said she'd give it to me." "I did," I said, holding up the torn pieces. "He humiliated me," she wailed. "Why would you make me sign something? It's just money." Mom looked like she was about to explode. "Give her the money, no conditions. She's your sister." "She already got the money." "Then give her more." Dad stepped in. "No, we're done with this. If she wants money, she earns it." "You're just turning him against us," she shouted at him. "She's 12. You're both cruel." And Dad just stared at her. "I'm tired of enabling bad behavior." Mom didn't respond. Just grabbed her car keys and slammed the front door behind her. She didn't come back until midnight. I lay in bed that night, staring at the ceiling. Frankie, that was the moment I realized something was broken in my family. Deeply broken. Not cracked or bent. Broken. My sister wasn't just a brat. She was trained to be one. She'd been taught that she could cry and scream and manipulate her way into anything. And my mother had made it true. After the safe incident and my sister tearing up the IOU, things didn't get better. They just hardened, like all the tension in the house calcified into something brittle and sharp. You could feel it in the air, like a thunderstorm stuck in pause. My sister avoided me completely unless she was mocking me under her breath or trying to eavesdrop outside my room. My mom? She shifted from shouting to snide. Every time I passed her in the hallway, it was another jab. "Look who thinks he's better than the rest of us." Or, "Don't act like your father's little soldier." I didn't respond, not once, because I'd learned something. Silence was a weapon too. But then came the door incident. It was a Saturday afternoon. I was in my room, headphones on, trying to drown out the world with some Metallica and geometry homework. I heard stomping, Mom's footsteps. She tried to storm into my room like she always used to, except this time she forgot. The lock. She slammed into the door so hard the thud shook the whole wall. I pulled off my headphones and opened it, and there she was, staggering back, hand over her mouth, blood starting to drip from her lip. A fat bruise was already blooming on her forehead. "What the hell did you do to me?" she screamed. I didn't say anything. I just stared, wide-eyed. "You think this is funny? You set me up. I could have broken my damn nose." She lunged like she was going to hit me but stopped short. I think she realized how bad she looked. Dad came running up the stairs, saw her face, and pulled her aside immediately. She tried to twist the whole thing. "He locked me out. He's hiding God knows what in there." "He locked a door. You tried to break it down. You hurt yourself," Dad said, arms crossed, totally unfazed. "He's disrespectful. He taunts me." Dad gave me a look. I just shook my head. Mom pointed a finger at both of us. "You're both ungrateful. You think you're so clever, turning my daughter against me, locking me out of my own house." "She threw a safe out a second-story window," Dad said. "Let's not rewrite history." Mom stormed off, clutching her forehead, yelling about being the only adult in the house. But after that day, she started avoiding the upstairs entirely. She claimed the vibes made her feel unsafe. You know what? Good. But the quiet didn't last. About 2 weeks before my 15th birthday, I was taking the trash out when I saw something strange on the patio table. A glossy pamphlet, bright red and black. A kid in uniform on the front, saluting. "Discipline, purpose, transformation, Camp Wexford Military Academy." I flipped through it. All the usual stuff. Rigorous routine, wilderness survival, respect through structure. But what chilled me was the application form tucked into the back. Half filled out. Name, age, school, allergies, my name. When Dad came home, I waited until after dinner. Slid the pamphlet across the table. "What is this?" I asked. He looked at it, frowned. "Where'd you get this?" "Back patio." He sighed, deep. "I'll talk to her." "You didn't know?" "I didn't sign anything," he said, "and I won't." The next day I saw the pamphlet was gone, but the threat, it lingered like smoke in the house. Every time I passed Mom, I could see it in her eyes, that simmering resentment, like she was waiting for an excuse. And then it got worse. I was taking out the recycling that Friday when I saw a trash bag with torn paper spilling out. Curiosity got the better of me. I reached in and pulled out a crumpled, coffee-stained manila folder. It was the full Camp Wexford application, signed by both parents. Only one problem. The second signature, the one that said Father Guardian, was forged. Sloppy cursive. Not even close to my dad's writing. I took the folder inside and set it on the kitchen counter like a bomb. When Dad came home, I showed him everything. His face darkened. She actually forged my name? She tried to send me away. He didn't say anything for a long time. Finally, he said, "I'm keeping this." "Are you going to confront her?" "Not yet," he said, "but this won't disappear." I could tell it shook him. He wasn't just mad, he was hurt. The kind of hurt that says, "I don't know who I married anymore." After that, things at home entered a weird Cold War. Mom barely spoke to either of us. Dad slept in the guest room more often. My sister, sensing the power shift, got sneakier, never outright attacking me, but always watching. I started having nightmares, not about Camp Wexford, about my mom smiling while signing me away. The day before my birthday, Dad pulled me aside. "I filed for a post office box," he said, "and I want you to keep anything important there from now on. Bank statements, receipts, college mail, all of it. You think she's already shown what she's capable of." He paused, then added, "I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner." That hit me harder than anything, because for the first time, he really meant it. And I think deep down, he knew things were heading toward a line neither of them could walk back from. And he was right. A month later, that line got crossed for good. Frankie, you ever hear something so damning, so final, that it doesn't hit you all at once? It just lands like a heavy coat on your shoulders. You don't realize how cold you were until it's gone. That's how it felt when Dad said, "I'm filing for divorce." He said it the night he caught Mom whispering on the phone in the laundry room. I was in the kitchen doing homework, but I heard it, her pacing, her saying things like, "Just wait until after his birthday, and I'll make sure the papers go through this time." When Dad asked her who she was talking to, she spun around, startled. She fumbled the phone behind her back like a kid caught cheating on a test. It wasn't until later that I realized the voice on the other end had said, "I miss you too." That was the moment Dad knew that she wasn't just a toxic mother. She was a liar, a cheater, and she'd been one long before she tried to send me away. He sat me down after she went to bed, handed me a cup of cocoa like I was still a little kid. Then, dead serious, he said, "She's been seeing someone. Some high school boyfriend she reconnected with on Facebook." I didn't even feel shocked, just hollow. He took a deep breath and added, Everything she's done to you, it's not just bad parenting. It's cruel, and I let it go on too long." He looked so tired, like he'd finally stopped carrying a lie that was rotting in his hands. "I'm filing for divorce," he said again, "and I want you to come with me." The words didn't hit until I was lying in bed later that night, staring at the ceiling fan spinning above me. I was leaving. We were leaving. The process moved fast, faster than even Dad expected. He showed the lawyer everything, the forged military school application, copies of old emails she sent pretending to be him, even a checkbook she'd used to sign his name and drain $300 from a joint account. The lawyer said, "This will go in your favor, especially with your son's testimony." Mom didn't take it well. She accused Dad of turning into a woman hater, claimed I was brainwashed, said I was just mad she held me accountable. That phrase became her shield for everything, stealing my money, punishing me unfairly, ignoring the truth. Accountability. But Dad didn't back down, neither did I. When the court date came, I sat outside the courtroom while they argued about custody and property. I wasn't a little kid anymore. I didn't need to be placed. But when the judge asked where I wanted to live, I didn't hesitate. With my father. It wasn't even close, the judge agreed. Mom got the house, some kind of tax thing, or maybe just Dad being done with it. She also got minimal alimony and child support from my sister, who chose to stay with her without a second thought. I think that's what hurt Dad the most, not losing the house, not splitting the bank accounts. It was losing the daughter he still wanted to believe was good. On my last day at that house, I didn't pack much. I left the trophies she never noticed, the books she never read, the clothes I'd outgrown. I took my safe, my black notebook, and the things I'd earned, not the ones I'd been given. My sister stood in the hallway as I zipped my duffel bag. She had this smug look on her face, like she'd won something, like she was the queen now. "Mom said I'm the more deserving sibling," she said. I didn't reply, just slung the bag over my shoulder and walked out the front door. I didn't look back. Life at Dad's place wasn't perfect, but it was peaceful, and that was more valuable than gold. He got a 2-bedroom apartment on the edge of town. Clean, quiet, no screaming matches, no missing money, no one barging into my room without knocking. He even let me pick out the curtains for my new room. Just me and him. Every Sunday we'd go to the park, not to talk, just to be. He brought coffee. I brought my sketchbook, and for a few hours the world felt kind again. My sister came over every other weekend at first, always with a chip on her shoulder, complaining about chores, slamming the fridge, saying things like, "Mom says you're just trying to make her look bad." Dad didn't argue, he just made dinner, tried to keep the peace. But over time she stopped coming. Maybe it was guilt, maybe it was boredom, maybe she realized Dad wasn't buying her princess act anymore. Either way, one day she just stopped showing up, and we never heard from her again. Not a word, not a text, not a happy birthday or Merry Christmas, nothing. Mom turned my old bedroom into a home office, sent me a single email months later asking if I'd left a library book behind. I hadn't. I never replied. I turned 16 the next year, got my scooter, bought it in cash from Mr. Kellerman, rode it everywhere like it was a spaceship, and I was finally off this godforsaken planet. Dad watched me from the sidewalk, arms crossed, a proud little smirk on his face. "You earned that," he said. "Frankie, I know a lot of people would say this story has a sad ending, that I lost a family, that things fell apart. But to me, this was the happy ending, because I got out, because I was no longer the villain in someone else's fantasy. I was just a kid who wanted a scooter. And in the end, I got it." If you made it this far, thanks for riding with me. If you love real, messy, emotional stories like this, go ahead and hit subscribe. There's always another confession waiting in the backseat.